It's time for Measure Twice.
Welcome to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors and Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential, and you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply, everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with the showroom now open in Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors and Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You could visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. Dino and the Folks. That would be his country band name. Dino and the Folks. I think so. But whatever.
Maybe like a rockabilly.
Like a rockabilly band, right? Like like a big guitar, a stand-up bass.
Yep.
Something like that, yeah. Okay, now you're with me right there, Joel.
Yeah.
Chris, not so much. He's like,
He's like,
more of a crooner guy. Okay, so we do have some cool stuff to talk about. Like, we're going to hopefully be able to start talking about a project that we're doing called the Pellador House, which is pretty fun. So when you're listening, you might hear us talk about that now and again because it's a historic restoration that's going on in South Bend. The house moved, but we'll have Todd Zeiger from Indiana Landmarks come in and tell us the actual history and all the cool stuff that revolves around the Pellador House. If you find yourself in South Bend on Mayflower, right?
What?
It's on
Navarre.
Navarre. It's on Navarre. Wait,
It's in Park Avenue.
it is. It's on Navarre, but isn't the road that goes in front of it? Portage. I said Mayflower.
You
I
did.
did. I don't know why.
You're thinking
you know
my
why?
house.
Because we're talking about Little Flower Church.
They're not on Mayflower
I
either.
know, but the flower thing.
They're on Ironwood.
he is all
Chris,
flustered.
I don't know what you drink in the morning, but what I drink makes me feel good. No, I'm just kidding. It's just coffee. It's just coffee. Yes, it's on Portage and Navarre.
Correct.
Sorry, Portage and Navarre. So you can check that out. But today, exciting topic, because things are like revving up in the building world now. You know, like it's the season. If you're going into a box store and there's no lumber, it's because people are building. Like right now, this is it. Right? When you say this is kind of peak building,
I don't know.
I don't either.
No.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
just keeps going. Oh.
For DIYers, it's probably like peak season.
This is painting weekend, so there you go.
Oh, I guess
you
it
go.
is. You're
Memorial
right.
Day weekend, everybody's
Yeah,
painting.
Memorial Day weekend's coming
Big
up.
paint sales going on right now.
Well, I know if you want a mattress, this is the time of year to get it. Oh, my goodness.
Mattresses, furniture, anything. This is Memorial Day weekend sale.
Yeah. It's kind of disappointing, But you're home, right? This is the longest weekend for most folks in a year, right? The longest.
It's the first one.
And it's not religious, meaning you don't have some sort of, church obligation that, or, you know what I mean? Like it's.
I mean, you have Labor Day then, and
Yeah, it's the first one. Labor Day and this weekend.
Because 4th of July is just one day.
And 4th of July can happen at any time.
Well, only on July 4th.
yeah.
Well, I mean, any day. What am I drinking? Oh my goodness! I meant like any day of the week. Like it
what
could
you
be a
meant.
Tuesday.
I think it's a Monday this time.
Is it?
Oh, so they'll make it a long
It's either
weekend.
Monday or a Friday. So
That's a good one.
That's either
pretty
Monday or
jazzed.
Friday.
I'm pretty jazzed.
Yeah, you were.
There's quite a span in there, Joel.
Yeah.
between
What
Monday and
does a
Friday.
Joel do when he has that many days in a row? Because he's a lamp full of oil, man. It's burning all the time. Really, seriously.
It is a Friday.
It is a Friday.
Oh, hot dog.
Yes, sir.
So that means it'll be a weekend.
That's
I'll be
great.
shooting fireworks at my kids.
Adam.
I've done that before. You ever do the
Roman candles.
Yeah. We
Yes.
shouldn't be promoting that, but
We're launching
Do
a
not
new
do that.
show on parenting.
Let's see how fast you are.
We just shoot smallpox at them.
we were doing that one year, and my brother-in-law was sitting on a lawn chair and right between his legs,
Ooh,
burn a hole in the.
That's what they call the Kramer vasectomy.
Pulverize that thing right up.
Only stings for a second.
It was a big party, and he didn't feel a thing. So anyway,
What we've learned is at a barbecue, Chris's, wear a cup.
Exactly.
It's the customary cup check before you don't get a drink unless you're wearing a
Or
cup.
just sit in the house. Don't go outside.
Yeah.
My famous story is we went and bought major fireworks. We were invited into the back room of crazy, blah, blah, blahs, whatever. Everything's either crazy, insane, or whatever. And my friend bought the stuff that you should probably only sell to people with a license.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, you're going to want to nail this to a board, right? So it doesn't tip over. And so you're a builder, Joel. So you're like, what size board would you, if it wasn't going to tip over, you'd do like 2x12, right?
I'd probably put it onto like a sheet of OSB or something.
Oh, yeah, like even smarter. Well, we weren't. We did 2x6. And guess what happened?
It's
Turn it over.
Like a
It tipped over.
like
I mean,
a
it was like
2-foot piece of it?
Oh yeah, we looked at. No, it was big. We come on, we were going all out. It was like a 12-footer. We had I think we had 6 mortars on it, and it was like a Civil War reenactment. It was crazy. It was like people were running for cover.
Whoa.
Oh, it was not good, man. His house had giant welts on it from where the fireworks were hitting the house. And this overserved gentleman in a lawn chair, he was just enjoying it. They were just whizzing by his ears. And I'll never forget that as I'm running away from it, like a scene from Platoon. Just like, I may as well have been in a rice paddy. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. I don't do that at 4th of July anymore. It's a little dangerous. We've all know
It can be.
we know people that can't count to 5 anymore using their hands.
Use your toes.
What?
Toes. Use your toes.
We stamp out the fireworks. Come on, I got to put this thing out. At any rate, wow, we should probably start talking about what we're going to talk
I was
about.
going to say, boy,
But hey, 4th of July is on a Friday, so
we know that.
my anniversary is on July 1st, so it's going to be a great week.
Good.
When we got married, we wanted to destroy everybody's 4th of July weekend.
Yep. You did it properly.
But what we're talking about today is not that, even though we just talked about that for 7 minutes and 13 seconds. What we're going to talk about today, because it's kind of the middle of the season, is what I was saying. It's kind of like, I know it feels early, but it's really, if you haven't gotten your stuff going by now, it's going to, it's kind of tough, right? If you're not on the schedule, if you're not on the schedule, it's going to be tough, right?
Yeah, I can't believe how fast this year's going already.
Fast. Well, you hang out with Joel
I
and
can't believe
Chris,
that it's
so
almost
June.
Memorial Day.
I know. Well, it's almost June.
Yeah, almost June.
That's crazy. So I went to one of my favorite websites, MarthaStewart.com. No, but I did go there. But I go to The Spruce, which is just
The Spruce.
The Spruce. It's a bespoke website. I like it.
Aren't they all?
No. No, The Spruce's competition is The Weed. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, wait, that would be something totally different.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Man, what?
And I just typed in trends, remodeling trends for 2025, right?
Wow. I wonder if we know what they are.
Well, I'm hoping. Well, what I like doing is throwing this stuff out there and have you guys poop all over.
Yeah, that was last year's trend. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's usually what you guys do. And so the first thing that they do is they kind of and I did go to Martha Stewart because I was like, well, what's Martha doing? Right.
What isn't Martha doing?
She does everything.
She does.
And her website, fantastic website. And the Spruce website's fantastic. Weirdly enough, they look very similar. So I'm wondering if there's some sort of relation there. But the first thing that comes up on the Spruce is green kitchens. And they go on and on about how shades of green are.
I've been seeing some of that.
Yeah.
I've been trying to talk my son into doing that in his kitchen.
And when you say green,
They won't have it.
I'll talk about
It's because it shifted away from blue. Everything was blue for a long time. Now it's green.
green. And when you say green, though, the greens that on
I
the
would go two-tone.
with a racing
Like a
stripe.
darker and a
No, I'm
lighter.
just kidding.
Yeah.
No,
Yellow racing stripe.
that actually would look cool. But yeah, they're saying greens, but out of nature, right? Like light green, like you could see.
Well, no, I'm not. I don't need to see it. I done it. Been doing it.
Been done it.
Done it. Been.
So when you say you've been doing it, and you joked, what did they do last year? Are you saying that?
I've I did
The
a
green
kitchen 2
trend.
years ago.
2 years.
We did it in green.
But that makes sense, right? Because if you're a website and these projects that they're seeing that are done, some of them were planned 2 years ago.
Right.
Honestly, that's not so.
Because trends start somewhere.
Exactly. Well, we only have a few seconds left, but when we come back in the next segment, though, where does the green, think about where did that green trend start? When did what happened? When did it start? But when we come back, let's go into that. This is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Joel Graber from Graber Customer Modeling and Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential. And you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops. With the showroom now open in Granger right next to C. Kramer Interiors. And Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. It's trendy in here. It's trendy, like Studio 54 in the 70s. It's that trendy. But we're kind of talking about trends, wasn't it? It was, well, not in Indiana, probably. In New York City.
Well, everybody knew about Studio 54. Not in a good way.
No. And I'd like
We're not
cocaine in a restroom way.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's the end of many superstars started at Studio 54. But we're talking about trends, and right out of the gate, I'm looking at Martha Stewart and the Spruce, two websites that kind of just tell you what's kind of been going on. Like I wouldn't call them cutting edge, right? But still good places to look. And right out of the gate, the Spruce says greens are the kitchen colors trends. And Chris, you had mentioned that. Shoot, that was 2 years ago.
Oh, well, I wouldn't say it, but we did it 2 years ago.
Started 2 years ago.
I think it's maybe, but it's been gaining momentum.
It goes back to what Chris was saying. For a while, it was blue, a lot of blue, and people just start getting tired of that.
Right.
A lot of navy blue.
So what's next?
So you start moving to something else.
And when they say green, they're in their pictures, they are basically the cabinets and like your backsplashes are green, like greenish. What do you put with green? Because when I scroll down, right, they say brassy hardware.
Yep. It's because it's warmer. Nickel against or a chrome against green. It's too cool. Against the warmth of the green.
Not cool like the Fonz.
Not cool,
like
but it's a cool color.
Yeah.
It's a cool color.
Right.
And greens are warmer. So your brass is more complementary. Your gold tones are more complementary to the green.
So is blue more receptive, though, to other colors?
You could do brass with blue, or you could do nickels with blue very easily.
Right. Whereas green, I don't want to use the term limiting, but...
It's not limiting, but it's a little more restrictive, maybe.
Yeah.
Same
What
thing
would
as
you go
limiting.
like
Same word.
oil rub bronze, and would that go with that, or not
Too
really?
dark.
Too dark.
So you need something
Too heavy. Not the gold contrasts beautifully against the green.
So like a gold or brass.
Bronze. You could do not an oil rub bronze, but a bronze that is more to the gold tones.
Whereas like blue takes on, you can
do a lot of things with blue.
Right. And green is a little bit more of a statement, it sounds like.
I'm a green person more than I am a blue person. So for me, a green kitchen would be easy. Blue would be a challenge.
To live in for you.
For me, personally.
Yeah, and then we talk about all the time. When we're talking about this stuff, we're not really talking about us, like what we... It's part of the show, but generally we're looking at what people are into.
Right.
We don't necessarily have to love everything that is going on.
And I think trends begin because, we have been white cabinets forever. Let's see what we can do to change this up. And so let's introduce, let's go to some blues. And then, we've done blues for a while now. We're kind of over that. Let's go to green.
So funny you mentioned that, because I go over to the Martha Stewart website, and her website it says gray. And she was, let me go down to where the darn it.
Cabinetry?
Hold.
Scroll down. Keep scrolling.
I have to scroll. I'm scrolling.
Come on, Martha.
Come on, Martha.
She's saying gray cabinets.
She's saying grays, whites, and neutral. But
for kitchens.
In her picture, and I'll show you the picture, there's green. If you look here, see the green? Right? Isn't that green?
Yeah.
Kind of a blue-green aqua.
It's a blue-green aqua, but
that's it. That is an accent color. That's not the
main
cabinet.
color.
That's not the main color.
Right. So she's the other side. She's saying, based on what I'm seeing, taking the green and making an accent, and the spruce is saying, bring green out to the front.
So Spruce is saying, do your cabinets green. Martha's saying, I've got white cabinets, but let's accent.
Right.
Let's add some green accents to the.
Exactly. And so it's like if you already have the kitchen and you can't redo the whole thing, you go the Martha Stewart route and the green shows up.
Well, the interesting thing between the two websites is Martha's is going to be more classic. So you don't have to worry about, in 5 years I've got green cabinets. I need to paint them.
Right.
Because that green trend is now over. Her accent, the way she's done it, is white cabinets with green accents. So you can change those accents without having to deal with your cabinets.
Yeah, right. You're not spending $80,000 every 2 years.
I typically follow her more than I would Spruce, just personally.
Right.
Because I like to, when I'm doing something, I'm thinking longevity, and I like things classic that you can work around. It's like the white cabinets are a neutral base. But you can paint your walls a different color. You can accents with different colors without changing your kitchen.
So, Joel, when you're doing, like, thinking about cabinets and thinking about that, do you, and I guess both of you can answer this thing. Martha Stewart's website, if you're far away, but if you look, they're very detailed. There's stuff. There's, like, millwork around the island and stuff like that.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
But if you look at the spruce, it not very clean.
Like more modern.
I can't see it, so I don't know what you're referencing there.
Let me go up here.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely more modern.
It's got the waterfall on the island,
but there are. I shouldn't say that. That's a more modern version, but a lot of the greens are and a little bit more traditional.
Say that again.
That's more modern,
that's
but that
more
doesn't
modern,
mean
not traditional.
Correct,
yeah.
But that doesn't mean if you have a traditional kitchen, it can't be green. If that makes sense.
I also noticed that I found that when you look at the spruce, it's more realistic kitchen. Martha Stewart tends to have these. You could tell it's like a showroom kitchen, but when you're putting in a cabinet and you're hanging these, does it matter? Like
what color it is?
Not the color, but look at how like the cabinets are very clean. Do you notice a difference in cabinetry from like these ornate cabinets, or do they all just hang the same? Like it's just basically you don't have to go out of your way to do anything.
They hang the same. I mean, but they should.
They should. Okay.
They should, and you should be doing it the same because then you're going to get the appropriate outcome. It's how you dress it up then.
Okay.
Like that more modern, it's cleaner, less trim, less added to it. Like, you know, Martha Stewart's probably has like under cabinet trim and
for example,
crown molding.
Yeah, if you can see that, can you see the picture? Just lean over. See this millwork down here? Like this stuff?
Yeah.
Is that happening at the cabinet maker, or is that happening?
That's well, it could. I mean, there's times where we'll have the cabinets built that way, and then there's times where you're adding those trim details that are coming from the cabinet maker.
But somebody's installing them. Either
you're putting it in once it's installed.
Is that a trim person, or is that construction, or is that the site crew? Who does that? Do you have like specific trim people?
We are our trim people.
You're the trim guy, aren't you?
He's the trim guy.
You are the trim guy.
but
Because that seems like an expensive touch.
Some people have trim guys, or it's the cabinet
that is just manufacturing it that way, and
then they come in and they have their installers and they install it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, see, I mean, that's more traditional.
Oh yeah, look. So Chris has shown me a picture of a green. That's like a pale green.
Yeah, softer green.
Yeah. And it definitely has more detail to it, than what you were showing.
Right. So the spruce has this, if I could describe it, it's like everything is very clean, smooth lines, smooth. There's no...
Yeah, that's just their photo of a more modern kitchen with green cabinets. But
right.
This is, I mean, there's much more...
So that's a trend, though, is the more detail.
No.
That's classic.
That's typically, okay, the spruce is showing you a modern kitchen cabinet design, but... all these design elements you're talking about are pretty common in most kitchens. It's not just a box.
Right. Okay. Most kitchens you're seeing...
We want furniture feet. We want, column details on an island, or like this next to the sink, or something that just kind of gives it a little bit more architecture, so it doesn't look like it's just a box.
Well, when we come up in our next segment, then let's move into the next room, and stay tuned for the living area. This is Measure Twice.
Ooh.
Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors and Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential. You're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC, and we're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with the showroom now open in Granger, right next to C. Kramer Interiors. And Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You could visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. We're talking about the trends, and we were in the kitchen, stuck in the kitchen for a minute. But let's move out into the living area. I'm looking at basically two websites because you could go nuts. Like, you can lose an entire day thumbing through like what trends and all the different kinds of websites. There's some pretty good ones out there. But I wanted to settle on some names like Martha Stewart doesn't do things by accident. She's intentional. As a matter of fact, when we were at Market, didn't we meet one of her... Doesn't Stickley have like one of her former people there? Mm-hmm. And you got the Martha Stewart vibe from her. Like she was pretty... what's the word I'm looking for?
She was nice, though.
Yeah, she was nice. I'd never met Martha Stewart. I couldn't tell you if she's nice.
She won't talk about her experience with
No, I get it. What I'm saying is her demeanor. She was professional. Mm-hmm. She was smart, sharp.
Yep.
It looked like, she was exacting. Like, that's cool. That's what I would expect. To the point. Right? And then the spruce, which is just bespoke and, like, not stuffy, but like almost stuffy.
Hello.
And so let's move into the living area. And what Martha Stewart's saying is...
Living room trends?
Well,
we're talking about living room trends?
That's what she's saying. White is a safe color for your home's walls, shelves, and flooring. But that doesn't necessarily mean that there's the best one. People are getting bored of all white and moving to more color patterns and interest. What a vague statement.
I know, right?
I wanted to read that. I couldn't wait to read that. I was like, wait a minute. Your headline says all white. When you read about it, it's not white.
Do they also make fortunes for... because that's so vague in general.
Well, they're saying mocha is a color that is trending right now in living areas.
So really?
Mocha. Brown. Now, I go over to the spruce, and I look at their picture. Oops, I scrolled past it. That's there's some mocha there.
Mocha.
Like the browns, the wood tones, I recognize that furniture, by the way, from Market right here.
I can't see what they're calling mocha.
They're not calling it mocha. I'm just saying I'm noticing that it is warm brown, like tannish.
It's more of a natural look.
Right.
Yeah, and the wood tones are more natural versus dark stained.
Exactly.
Except the beams on that photograph are dark, which contrasts from everything, which adds interest.
On a side note, if you do go to the Spruce and you do the /2025 renovation trends or whatever and scroll down, those beams are beautiful. They're
They
worth
are.
like, you see that? I wonder if they're not real, right? They're probably not construction,
No, they're real.
They're real.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
They're doing something?
Maybe not. They might be just purely decorative,
That's
but
what I mean.
they're still real.
They look beautiful.
But you're looking at, in that photograph, you're looking at natural wood tones. The floor's
Yeah.
natural. The furniture has natural wood tones.
Right.
Very neutral, but you're getting contrast from the dark fireplace and the darker beams. So it all harmonizes and it gives you a really good, it feels warm and welcoming.
Yeah.
But that light, that mocha, if you want to call it mocha, yeah, that's...
And I think that's what I got out of it. Not
Yeah.
like
I was
using
thinking-
the term mocha, but really what they're saying is natural.
But look at the white walls, or off-white walls.
And what did Martha Stewart say?
White walls. With neutral.
Yeah.
But it all pairs really well, including the black windows.
But whoever does Martha's website was like, they just found the word white and then went into this.
Oh, that's cold.
That looks like a waiting room for
Surgery.
yeah, like, it's not, I don't imagine.
A sci-fi thriller that...
Yeah, and it takes place in the future where
Yeah.
there's no feeling.
They're performing lobotomies.
How, when you have can you imagine having a
feels
white,
like.
and Chris, I'm sure you've had this, like a white on white on white on white room.
What?
Look.
No, we don't. No. That's not typically our customer
No.
look.
But then you go down to the open concept kitchen and they throw it all
And
out
that's
the window.
pretty. And that's
that
nice.
looks more like the Spruce. When we look, so in practice, what they're saying is natural colors on neutral walls. But going back, when I'm looking at this, I couldn't wait to ask Joel. Okay, so this ceiling, can you see it here?
Yeah.
Okay. These beams, to me, when I was looking at this last night, they were like, they couldn't possibly be structural
Why?
because they're rounded.
That doesn't mean anything.
You can do rounded beams.
If somebody were to say or build a house like this, how do you make those beams? Because they don't make round trees. They don't make.
No, you cut it.
It would be expensive
Is this?
to have that made.
So what I'm trying to describe here is it looks
I
like
can't
there's a
really
span.
see the beams well. They may be like laminated together.
Well, let me describe
you
what
can
we're
do
looking
that.
at. So there's a room that looks like it's about 40 feet across. Let's call it. It's a big room, and there's beams that span that 30 to 40 feet, and they are arched, which looks
Slightly,
so
yeah.
cool.
It's cool.
Importantly, they're arched. It's part of the overall design of that room. If those were straight across,
It would look weird.
it would look, because everything is so linear. Look at your windows.
Right.
Look at the fireplace mantle. Everything is linear.
Very
You
linear.
need that soft curve to balance out all the linear lines. Otherwise, it would not. Your eye would perceive that as off if that were straight across. You
Gotcha.
need that arch.
So to have that built, Joel, that if you can you get a good look at it now, that arch, that span of 30 feet, how do you make that arch?
That doesn't look like 30 feet, but
Well, let's say it's 20 feet.
Very carefully.
yeah. Yep.
How do you catch a unique bird? Unique up on it. But you see what I'm saying? Like, is that laminated or is that like
I mean,
you don't get one piece of wood? Is what I'm saying.
It
Like,
could be, but that's a soft enough arch. You could get that out of you could
Cut it.
cut it out of
Mill
one
it.
beam.
mill that beam.
And you'd have to send that out to a company and it would come back on a truck like that, and then you would hang.
No, he would do it in his back room.
You just whittle it.
Just
We could
whittle.
do that. We could do that
naked
in the
room.
barn.
That's why the naked room's 60 feet long, so he can
right.
whittle beams in there.
That's why.
He's just using his whittle beam.
Yeah.
Hi-oh.
Oh, his whittle be. Oh,
You're getting it now.
Jeez.
Okay, we're a family show, Chris. Okay. So But
I
when you
feel
have
like you're
those
getting
long,
set up, Chris.
I was. I didn't really bite, but
but are beams a trend too then, or is that a classic?
classic. That room without those beams would be boring.
It'd be a cathedral.
They also, because they do bring down the ceiling heights visually.
You know, there's one thing they don't mention in here that's in this picture. If you can imagine this picture, it's basically, you can see that it's an open concept from like a kitchen,
Yep.
right? Because there's
Gorgeous,
a dining room
though.
table.
Ooh, beautiful.
And check out the fireplace. Isn't that a trend too? The super tall fireplace.
It's not a trend. If you have a vaulted ceiling like that, you're not going to cut the fireplace.
You're not. You wouldn't have like a little box fireplace with the mantle and then.
No, I think that, again, look how dramatic that focal point is. If you started to, if you put straight beams in and lower, that room would be boring.
Right.
It just wouldn't work well. It's a beautiful room. There was a lot of thought put into that space.
Big and bland it would be. When you're hanging something like that, then, Joel, at what point is that something that's in before the drywall goes in? Like if you have a giant beam and it would be finished like that, or would a beam come in? This beam is stained.
It would probably be finished after the fact.
By the painter or somebody. Because it's big. It's an architectural thing. Mm-hmm. It's funny. I went in the rabbit hole after looking at this because the beam stood out to me. It's like I almost wanted to just talk about beams after seeing that because it was like really cool. Future episode. But then I went and I was like, well, who does like rounded beams and stuff? And there was a guy, Antonio Gaudi, who's an architect in Spain. And he would do stuff like that, like
in Barcelona.
Yeah. Or Barcelona, as they say.
Barcelona?
Barth. Not barf.
Oh.
Not Barcelona.
I was like, what?
But he would do like these, you wouldn't expect stuff in there. And
very unusual architecture.
So when we come back, I guess we'll bring it home to the next place
What's
Martha
that?
Stewart wants us to look, and you'll just have to stay tuned to find out. When we come back, this is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling and Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential, and you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We are brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with the showroom now open in Granger, right next to C. Kramer Interiors. And we're talking about trends today, among everything else that we get sidetracked on. And looking at two websites in particular, the Spruce and MarthaStewart.com. And Martha Stewart does not go into a room. You got to figure she's the accessory queen. Right. So she was talking about a shift in tiles. And I don't hear us talk a lot about tile kitchen floors too much anymore. But she seems to be leading towards that. And kind of saying that they're somewhat classic.
Tile kitchen floors?
Yeah. I don't think so.
I'm trying to remember the last time I've seen one.
Well, if you're Mediterranean or
Florida
south, you'd see a lot more of that traditionally. But
now the designer that's talking on here is saying that, and I'll just quote it from Martha Stewart's website, I don't think people have fully understood the implications of using tile in the long run. They show wear, and some people don't like to see products in their home change and evolve. I think people will shift to the porcelain versions of tile as they're stable and don't change. This is an assumption that people are putting down tile in their kitchen.
Yeah.
And I just don't see it. Maybe in Southern California. Like maybe this,
No, I mean, 20-some years ago, you had more of that.
Yeah, but not so much anymore.
Wood, LVPs.
Yeah.
I don't see it. So I'm like, I kind of disagree with this
I like a tile
website.
kitchen. That's my preference, though.
Yeah. I think
especially now that you can do like the floor heat.
I come to think of it, we just did put one in just recently.
Did you really? That's kind of funny because we're all in here like, man, I don't see it, and then you're like, wait a minute.
And we did it in a herringbone pattern.
See, that's beautiful. I love that.
12 by 24. Looks like it's a porcelain. Looks like stone.
So it was porcelain, like tougher material that won't wear.
Yeah, it's stronger than ceramic.
So you can drop. It's like you can drop stuff. It's not great to drop it, but
Well, the stuff is breaking that you're dropping on it.
Yeah, this is true.
it's tougher than. And I
It's
think
not going to chip and
chip is the word I was looking for. It's not going to.
wear the.
When they put tile down, Joel, what's the most crucial part of a tile set, or like what is the
Underlayment
why is that?
for your floor. If you don't have the appropriate stability underneath it, it's gonna you're
It's
gonna
going
get
to
a lot of cracks. Tiles will even break.
But basically, the grout.
So you have your underlayment, and then how like when they're setting it that there's a full coverage of mortar on the back of your tile. A good tile setter is going to make sure.
Because it's every inch of that tile needs to have
You don't want
the pressure
voids.
needs to be spread out, right? Is that
Yeah, you don't
basically-
want voids because then you'll definitely get breaks.
That's what happens. So if you're getting that, that's probably what happened. And that's you said underlayment, that's the board that goes down, and then something goes on top of it.
Well, you make sure. Yeah, you have to make sure that you have the appropriate thickness to decrease the deflection, and then with the membranes that there are now, the crack isolation membranes, we use the Detra on our projects typically, or tile guys do, and that helps to create a separation also, so that the tile's not moving as much.
Because they're super stable. They don't breathe like wood, right? They kind of
What, tile?
Yeah.
Oh, no, there's no movement to the tile
right.
itself.
Yeah.
So it doesn't react well to voids, and
Right.
like a piece of wood reacts to a void
Yeah,
because
it
it's
just-
moving.
Yeah.
Tile
Moves
needs
with-
stability, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And not movement
Correct.
because it'll eventually crack
Correct.
or come apart, right? Or the mortar will not be able
Yeah, the mortar
to
will-
hang on.
It'll come. You'll get loose tiles, cracked grout.
And that's just, you talk about your eye going right to it. Like your eye can find a crack. You know, that it's just,
Usually a plumber.
hi-oh, he's back. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Kramer with the zingers. So you did do tile, though. That's
Yes.
funny.
Yes, that's the first time in 20 years.
And that's definitely not something that's going to change a lot. You put the tile down, it's sticking around for years.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is not meant to be a temporary floor.
So the thought process
This is long term.
does that, I guess where I'm going is, does the tile make it so you can't have certain cabinets and you can't have certain countertops, and
No, he's coordinated it all.
so that is limiting?
So you're saying if they were to remodel the kitchen at some point in time,
Yeah, like change a countertop, it's got to handle the tile, right?
You've got to complement it.
Whereas like wood kind of disappears.
Wood's more neutral.
Yeah, that's all I was saying. Like,
And the reason that this project we use tiles because there's no hardwood to if we were to put hardwood, there's a family room that's connected. If we did hardwood in that family room, I would have recommended taking the hardwood into the
Just
kitchen.
send it all
but
there.
it's carpeted in the family room, so yeah. So tile was a logical choice for the kitchen.
So you're not in the room with us, ladies and gentlemen, but I don't know what connection Joel and Chris just made on that, but there was eye contact. Where were you getting at?
I just don't like the carpet in the family room.
They made eye contact. It was a moment. I felt
Yeah.
like I was
Left out. You jealous?
Yeah, I felt like I was the cab driver, and they were talking about something in the back seat.
Joel's reaction and my reaction were like, I would have put hardwood in the family room
For sure.
and carried it into the kitchen.
But if you can't do it, then you got to make decisions like that.
Correct. It's not my house, so it's the homeowner's choice.
Yeah, right. It's not wrong. Just not
not wrong.
Just not something that's your taste.
It's just, I think long term, and the wood floor in a family room, flowing into the kitchen, and then I would have floated into the foyer because that all just kind of works together. Would have been classic, timeless, beautiful. You never have to worry about changing it.
Yeah.
Or dating it.
But that's not what happened.
That's not what happened. It is what it is.
Yep. It is, right?
And it's beautiful. And
right.
what's being done is beautiful. So
and that's
all
really,
preferences.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all the preference. Nobody's
no judgment.
So what's in your foyer then?
The same tile, but it's the same tile. It's the foyer, and then there's a hallway on each end on the end that flows into the kitchen.
Herringbone there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, so that has nothing to do with cost.
No,
because if you're doing a herringbone tile that's carried to hallway and
kitchen
and foyer, that's a lot of cost.
Yeah, because that's a lot of labor.
That's a lot of labor. And herringbone pattern, you're going to use a lot. You're going to use more tile.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that has nothing to do with cost. That just has everything to do with what they prefer.
Right.
Which is fine.
Yeah, it sounds beautiful.
And it is beautiful. I mean, it really is pretty. And but this is just a temporary house. So this is not a long-term home for them.
They're going to move out?
They're looking for something eventually different, but they were going to build in 5 years. So they didn't want to go through all of that. They're not going to put hardwood in and all of that because they're not planning on being there long term.
And I think they're making kind of a statement because there are some realtors that might say, "Whoa, that seems risky." Herringbone, people could walk in.
No. Those are features that help sell a house.
Gotcha.
Because you typically walk in expecting to see something standard, then you walk in and see something that's a little bit more thought put into it. They're like, "Ooh, that's
it's like a style
floor.
point."
Style point. Oh, that floor is beautiful. I love that floor.
If you were going to take out the carpeting and put something else in, you're stuck with carpeting there?
No.
Nope.
What would you put in then?
You could put in a hardwood then. It'd probably have to be an engineered.
Then how would we match that up, Joel?
To match depth.
How do you make those meet?
You run it up to it.
You put an ad in the paper.
Do you like pina coladas? No. When you have like a lip, like a cap, can you make that join seam?
Yeah, you can bring it right together.
Yeah. And you look at me like,
You would want to bring that right together.
Right together. No transition strip.
No, that's what I was getting at. No, you can join them and not have to worry about.
And you can join them forever.
But thanks for listening. I know it's been quick, but we'll be back next week. This is Measure Twice.
Podcasts by Federated Media.